Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solar Games, and today let's talk a little bit about sleeves. So one of the things that's really interesting is, there's a lot of penny sleeves out there on the market. I just want to share some of my feedback about the different types you can purchase, and kind of like what they're, I don't know, what's good about them or what's bad about them. Just high level understanding. So for today, I'm just going to use. These are the three I have currently. Actually, I don't have any of these for sale. I do have the Ultra Pros and just more generic brands. And also, I personally purchased some Beckett's. So I have some Beckett's as well, right? What I want to do for this video is just show you like what the differences are, subtle differences they have, and what that means for your collection. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing is, let's just talk about the three different types, outer wrapping. Obviously the Beckett one just looks the best. It looks the most professional. It looks really nice if you hang it on a store or something like that. Ultra Pros, kind of like a little bit less, professional looking, whatever that means. And of course this one is just super generic. This doesn't even have a logo. It does have a place where you hang it though. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, doesn't matter. If you're not selling these, who cares? You're not really putting this up in a storefront. It just sits in your shelf. You ship it, it's fine. It doesn't need the hook, right? That's also why they have this little hole here, by the way. So this little hole is just for the, for hooking onto like a shelf or something like that. Okay, so let's talk about the meat of these sleeves. Price-wise, the Ultra Pros are running a little high right now because I think most of that last wave of the Pokemon like super craze is really popular still. So I see a lot of people buying these because this is the more recognized brand. I remember using Ultra Pro binder pages when I was a kid, and that was like maybe 20 years ago. So they've been in business for a long time. Beckett has been in business, but they don't really do sleeves. This is probably just them trying to chase this market because this is really easy money, right? Like you're selling plastic, really thin plastic too, for a lot of money. So that's what Beckett does. They're a little bit newer in the market, and this is some generic brand. I don't even know what this is. Probably just the same made in China type of thing. Now, to be fair, Ultra Pros are also made in China, so it's not like it's any different. I do know that from year to year, like this one's the 2018 Ultra Pro, it does have little slight differences, but in general, the process has been pretty nailed down and they're fairly consistent across the board. Okay, so let's talk about the sleeves themselves. The size-wise for all three, I'll just kind of compare them. So let's see, Ultra Pro's in the middle. We'll keep them in the same order. As you can see, the Ultra Pro and the generic are going to be pretty close. The Beckett is a little bit long. Well, actually, the generic is a little bit shorter. Sorry, actually, the Beckett and the Ultra Pro size-wise is very similar. The generic is a little bit shorter, and actually, it's a little bit thinner too, but it's hard to see on that on the camera. So what I'll do is I'll just put a card in it so you can see. So I'll put the Terramorphic Expanse in the generic. I'll put this one, the Morbid Opportunist, in the Ultra Pro. So you can really see that difference, right? Now, with the cards inside the sleeves, you can see that it's a little shorter on the top. You can kind of tell. Personally, I like it having a little bit more space. Less space on the top. I like it a little bit shorter. It fits into binder pages easier, honestly. So these generic, in my opinion, actually are a little bit better than the Ultra Pro. For the Beckett, let's put in like a really nice card that's already double sleeved. And this is, you can do that too for double sleeving. This is like poor man's double sleeving. I'll show you how to do it normally, right? Anyways, these are the three different types of sleeves. As far as feel goes, the generic feels very like a slippery, glossy plastic. Works fine to protect your cards. Ultra Pro feels very similar. It actually does feel a little bit thinner, which in some cases is not a bad thing because you don't want these sleeves to be overbearing. The Beckett sleeve, I will say, feels a little bit like, it's not very slippery. It's almost like a little bit matted or kind of like ashy, right? There's a little bit of like, it doesn't feel the same as the other two. It also has a little bit more of a murky look instead of like the more crystal clear that the Ultra Pro has and this generic. Price-wise, your Ultra Pro is going to be, these are pennies. We used to call them pennies because they would be a pack of 100 for $1. Because of all the inflation and recent plastic shortages, these have now gone up to, I've seen on like eBay, upwards of like about $3 if you just buy a single one of 100. But it can come down to maybe about like $1.90, so about $2 or so. If you buy like a lot of them, let's say you buy like 100 of them or something like that, or sorry, not that many packs. Let's say 20 packs, so that's about 2,000 of these Ultra Pros. You might be able to get something like $2, a little bit less than that, something like that. But the days of getting these for like $1 is pretty much gone, right? That doesn't exist anymore, especially if you factor in shipping and all those other fees, because these aren't, these aren't free to ship, basically. These are kind of heavy. The Beckett is actually the most expensive. Yeah, and I'll just say that there's nothing specific about that. So overall, what do I think? Honestly, I think these for pennies, because the purpose of the pennies are just so that you can put a card in a sleeve. You're probably not putting your most expensive cards in sleeves. I think for the purpose of just doing that, these generic pennies are fine, right? So if you find these generic ones, they don't have any labels, they just look like this at your local game store, and they're significantly cheaper than Ultra Pro, I would just recommend picking this up. It's not too bad. These are totally fine. They're a little bit shorter, so if you do care to have a little bit of length on top, just be aware of that. That's going to make a difference. As far as like other things, like obviously all three of these, so we'll check the penny because that's the shortest one. But you can also, of course, double sleeve. I mean, I use this type of technique of double sleeving for shipping. It's actually really great. But of course, you have to double sleeve. This is an inner. This is a KMC Perfect inner sleeve. I like those much more than the Dragon Shield ones, because the Dragon Shield ones tend to be a little bit too tight. Anyways, different video, different sleeves. So they're good for that. The Ultra Pro actually has a really cool other effect. Let me see if I can get one of these sleeves to show you. So if you ever purchased like Ultra Pro hard sleeves, here, I'll show you with this one. So this is one of these like Magic Ultra Pro hard sleeves, right? One of the things about these sleeves is that they're actually fairly perfect for the card size, like this. And the cool thing, one of the things you can do with the Ultra Pro hard sleeve, and I'm not, actually, you know what, this one size-wise is a little bit different. It may still work. So one of the cool things you can do with these, it won't work. This is too big. Maybe not these Ultra Pro. There was, you know what, it's the ones with a mana symbol. Let me see if I can find one of those in my little bag of gadgets here. I may not have one, so I probably can't show you today. What about this one? Let's try this one. This is even Ultra Pro? I don't even remember what this is. That's probably going to be too big as well. So I can tell already this is going to be the same size as these. Anyways, one of the things I found out with Ultra Pros, especially the penny sleeves, is that if you have one of the ones where the back is a mana symbol, it will totally make sense if you have one of those. Maybe not a mana symbol, but like one of the guilds. You can actually fit an outer into an inner. So what I mean is, oh man, I wish I had one of those to show you. Yeah, nope, I don't. So what I mean is you can actually fit one of these sleeves inside one of the Ultra Pros like this. You can double sleeve, kind of like reverse. Also really great for shipping cards, just something, that little technique I learned. The other thing I learned is with Ultra Pros especially, because they're so big, you can actually ship them kind of with, kind of double sleeving themselves. So you can put one in here like this, and then you could actually just do this. Now it does, you will notice it's going to bend the side a little bit, but that's fine because it's not going to bend the card. And the whole point of this is so that this is now fully waterproof. You can dunk this into a jar. The water won't get in because it has to kind of go in and then come back out. Like this is good enough for most shipping, and it's a really great way to ship cards. I mean, most players, when they get the cards, they just take it out of here and just throw away the sleeves anyway, so it doesn't matter. But this is a good way to ship cards, as a means to do that. Now, what I found out is really super interesting now that we're here is you can actually do something like this. So for these generic sleeve, you can put them in the generic sleeve like this, because remember this is shorter, and then actually double sleeve with the Ultra Pro. This works extremely well, actually. And there are some sleeves, so the sleeve size all kind of have slight variations, and we're talking like 1/16 of an inch difference, right? But you can actually do some double sleeving like this, and this is perfect. So this is actually really great too. That's another option you have. Anyways, just comparing the sleeves. My personal opinion, if you can find the cheaper generic ones, they're probably fine. You don't need to go for Ultra Pros, especially these are a little bit harder to get and they're a little bit more expensive. But there's options. I would probably just skip the Beckett ones. I don't think these are great sleeves. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna buy any more of these. I bought some just to test and see what their difference is. Compared to Ultra Pros, The Ultra Pros just feel better. These are a little bit more like matted. It's, the best way I can describe it is like that. It's like almost very dusty, so it feels a little bit dirty. Anyways, yeah, so that's today. We're just talking about sleeves. Very simple video. Thanks for watching. This is Mark from Solar Games, and I'll see you next time.